Let's go ahead and get started. My name's Lindsay Lyons.
And I'm Allison.
Hopefully you all can hear us okay. Just raise your hand or use the chat feature if you need to intervene. It looks like you all are muted. But we wanted to welcome you to the call today. We're really excited. We had about 10 institutions reply to our call to compete in an EcoChallenge from April 1 through 21 this spring. And we just want to take this hour to sort of introduce the partners and provide an overview of why we have found the EcoChallenge useful, and perhaps share some logistical and best practices as to how this could play out to hopefully make your lives easier. And then at the end, we will finish with some Q&A, just if you have individual needs as to how this can play out at your institutions. But just real quickly, I'd like to just have everyone introduce themselves on the call. If you could just share your name, your institution, and your title or role at that institution. So again, I'm Lindsay Lyons. Welcome there, Pam. I am Lindsay Lyons at Dickinson College. I work in our Center for Sustainability Education, where Allison.
I'm a projects intern here, and so my main project for the semester is facilitation of EcoChallenge.
All right, Ken, if you don't mind introducing yourself.
Sure, Ken Slazeman. I am an economics professor at York College of Pennsylvania, situated in the Graham School of Business.
Great, and on to Sarah.
Hi, I'm Sarah Bennett. I'm at Mercyhurst University in Erie, Pennsylvania, and I am the biology chairperson and director of environmental science.
Okay, how about up next, Pam?
Pamela Gramlich. I'm the Assistant Director for Sustainability and the Program Coordinator for Environmental Studies at Colgate University in Hamilton, New York.
Great, welcome. How about Abigail and friend?
Hi, I'm Abigail, and we are from Westchester University, and this is Paige. We're both presidents of two different student focused sustainability groups on campus. Yeah.
Okay, great, welcome. Beatrice, are you there? You are on mute, Beatrice, if you can hear me. All right, how about Brandon Hoover?
Hi, I'm Brandon. I'm the Director of Sustainability at Messiah College and lecturer in the Sociology Department.
Great, and how about Dana?
Hi, I'm Dana Bentley. I work at Penn State Optana with Tom Schaefer. I'm the current AmeriCorps service member, and Tom Schaefer works in the community-based studies. So that's what I do.
Great. And I think that's everyone. Is there anyone else on the call that I missed? Beatrice is at Harrisburg Area Community College. And if you take a moment, there's a really long, ugly link in the chat feature, which, and it's also in much neater version in an email that I just reminded you on about 10:30 today. What I've done is created a shared folder for some resources. And one of the resources in there is a contact list for the people that are interested. I will try and keep that up to date, and I will use that to copy and paste emails to communicate with you all. So if there are other people at your institution that you would like added to that contact list, just get me their contact info and I will have them on there. But additionally, the team that just introduced themselves, you'll be able to find names and emails in that Excel spreadsheet in the shared folder. So chat with Allison. She's kind of running the chat on the side if you have any problems accessing that, but everyone should have access to view and download those files. Okay, so I'm going to share a PowerPoint here really quickly that we will run through with you all. Did it go? Oh, got it. But you can't see it. Screen sharing has failed to start. Please try again later. That's great. Okay, try yours. it. Sorry, guys. Okay, it looks like it went. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that. I don't know. I just had a little glitch. So, Allison and I introduced ourselves. We went through this. I just want to tell you a little history of what is EcoChallenge, where did it come from, and sort of how Dickinson got involved in that. It is not something that we invented, but I am friends with the folks at Northwest Earth Institute, which is an organization out of Portland, Oregon that I ran into at the ASHE conference a few years ago. And they have a developer that put together this program, and their sort of big picture goal is online engagement for the change of sustainability behaviors. Recently, just this winter, I believe, they rebranded themselves to what is known as EcoChallenge.org. So historically, the Northwest Earth Institute had done lots of different things, but they are really focusing their efforts on the EcoChallenge itself. We don't pay them anything. They don't pay us anything. We are just sort of users that really enjoyed the program. And we figured here at Dickinson, if we were going to put the time and effort in, why not invite others to join us, because competition is fun. And we feel like adding your institutions to the mix just is going to make Dickinsonians get more excited. We did this in 2018. When I first got wind of this, I was like, yeah, look, kind of where I think a lot of you are all at this point, like, yes, I will give this a try. You know, it doesn't seem like that much effort. Let's see how it goes. So I wrote to friends at Haverford and Bucknell, and you can see the results there at the bottom. We were the Dickinson Green Devils. We had 207 people join the challenge. We acquired over 20,000 points, which will tell you how that's possible. Haverford, I think honestly they had much less effort than we did even, but they managed to get 71 and 74 members to join quickly. And Allison will share with you sort of what we did then and what we hope to do now to increase those numbers, to give you some ideas. But the Dickinson Green Devil team, you can see there the challenge we did before was only about 2 weeks, October 1st through October 15th in 2018. This year we are looking to do a 3-week challenge, because psychologists tell me if you change a behavior for 3 weeks, you are more likely to stick with it. That's why we chose that time period. So for the 2020 challenge, this is what you should see. You can see 5 teams have already registered in there. Messiah, Westchester, looks like you are in the right place. The rest of you, we hope to get you committed and registered as a team by the end of today. But I just wanted to point out a little clarification and explain how this happened at the bottom. So EcoChallenge exists. It has existed since 2016. And as I said, if you go to this website right here, campusecochallenge.org, you will see impact summaries of all of their work for the past years. But what happened is when we, Dickinson, tried to join that challenge again, it was accumulating Lindsay Lyons's points from the last challenge also, right? Which is not what we wanted, because we wanted a fresh slate so that we could kind of start over and challenge you. So I was able to talk the EcoChallenge folks into creating a custom challenge for us, which in theory should probably cost a lot of money, right? Like EcoChallenge is entirely free, but the way that they make money, or the only way this would cost your institution anything, if you wanted to do these kind of customized challenges. For example, we are going to be using the commitments that they have assigned. If you wanted to add custom commitments like I use the Messiah reusable cup or whatever, like if you want it to be commitments that are focused on you, you do have to pay them for that. If you want custom branding and logos and custom commitments, does that make sense? However, we feel the free base model is totally sufficient for what we need. But my point to you here is, it's going to be very important that when you are recruiting participants, that you are using this Campus 2020 logo everywhere and anywhere so that you are sending people to find your team to the right place, okay? Because it is possible if people Google EcoChallenge, they may end up seeing hundreds of teams from past challenges where we want them in our special 2020 challenge with the 10 of us, okay?
Yeah, so this is like the poster that was created for Campus Eco Challenge 2020. So we're kind of channeling this idea that it's not just about electricity reduction, but it sort of pertains to all of these different components. So I'll go into more detail in a later slide about each of the components. But it's a really easy way to engage faculty, staff, students to take action. And some of the actions are something you can do on a daily basis, and some of them are one-time actions.
I just wanted to say here too, I kind of forgot the point. The reason we picked April 1 through 21, this is the 50th anniversary of Earth Day, which is on April 22nd. So we are capitalizing on that to sort of end our Eco Challenge on Earth Day, which can provide for more hoopla and excitement and connections to that. So if you want to participate in this challenge against us, you know, for equality purposes, you would have to do it April 1 through 21. Into the future, next fall, next spring, if you want to have an institutional challenge at your institution, you can customize the dates for any time you want.
Okay, so this sort of evolved out of us doing an on-campus energy challenge where we would have sort of all the residential spaces compete against each other. But heading into our year of carbon neutrality, we decided to shift our focus to more like a broader idea of sustainability that focuses on climate change needing behavior change. So we looked for a challenge that would encompass more aspects than just electricity. So to include things such as food waste or eating a plant-based diet. But we had a lot of success on campus with these energy challenges, and we're excited about Eco Challenge. So we decided to do it because we have a relationship with an organization called RARE. RARE worked with Project Drawdown to take the 80 climate solutions that they came up with, and they narrowed down that 30 of those changes involved individual action and individual behaviors. And so it's this idea that many of these solutions can actually be tackled on a college or university campus because of the individual behaviors. So if you would like more information about sort of the science behind it and the psychology about it, definitely check out RARE's report. It's called Climate Change Needs Behavior Change. And it's a really awesome report that shows the solutions and ways to institute behavior change. So for your institution, we want the engagement to not just reach students, but also engage faculty, staff, offices, different departments. A big goal for Dickinson is to not just engage sort of our sustainability-minded students, but really broaden our outreach to engage a whole number of different people. So we really like this challenge because it's very holistic. So there are aspects of it that focus on wellness, that's walk more or things like that, that aren't necessarily about the environment, and you can definitely translate to the environment and environmental benefits from them, but it's more holistic. And it's also really easy to sort of get a real-time assessment and impacts. As someone logs the points that they're doing, they're coming back into the whole report. And so it's pretty easy to communicate how you're doing in relation to other Dickinson students, and also how Dickinson's doing in relation to all of your institutions.
Yeah, we really like, as sustainability coordinators, some of you can understand, it's often hard to assess our work or track impacts, and EcoChallenge has sort of figured out a lot of that for us. The statistics are real time, which is really nice. But when this is said and done, you will be able to look at an individual's impact, you will be able to look at Dickinson's impact, you'll be able to look at your institution's impact, and you'll be able to look collectively what the 10 of us were able to do by doing this, which just, it provides, the real-time aspect of it provides a lot of incentives and motivation for people to keep going. With our energy challenge, we found there was often a lag in the efforts we were putting in one, they sort of stopped after the challenges, and we often saw that the residences that were really into it, you maybe didn't see the results in the KWH reductions. And this really puts it in the hands of the individual, which we find a lot of value in.
So these are the sort of 7 behaviors that helped shape what EcoChallenge looks like, and we'll go more into the categories later. But all of these some of them are within the realm of college students and some of them aren't. So Campus EcoChallenge definitely focuses on what's sort of in the realm of students to do. And so things such as purchasing an electric vehicle, not that easy for a college student to do, but focusing on eating a plant-rich diet, definitely easier for a student to focus on.
And we shared this report with you in the resource folder that I shared earlier. We just really think it boils down, Project Drawdown's kind of overwhelming 80 solutions into the ones, these are 7 that are behavior centered, that have a high impact on carbon emissions, right? Which is what we're kind of going for behind the scenes here. And from that, EcoChallenge used this resource to come up with things that you, colleagues, students can actually do on the ground every day.
So these are all of the different components of EcoChallenge. So it's energy, simplicity, community, water, food, transportation, nature, and waste. So as we said before, we like how this is much more holistic, and within each of those categories, there are both daily challenges, but also challenges that are more one-time challenges.
Okay, so logistically, what does this look like to put this together? Someone at your institution will need to be designated as a team captain, and I believe there is the potential, particularly Westchester, I think this would work well for you, to have co-captains if that is an option. It just gives you a little more administrative privilege on the back end of the team. After the call today or while you're working here, whoever wants to be team captain needs to go in and create a team. And you want to kind of customize it with a name that is inspiring for your institution. You'll have we have our Dickinson huge new solar field as our motivating image, and we have an icon for that. Once your team is created, you will be given a custom URL that you can use to invite people to your team, which is probably, if you're doing this and sending out email invitations or announcements or whatever, you want to provide the direct URL for people to join your team. And that should be pretty evident once you go through signing up a team. You probably want to figure out how are you going to incentivize this at your institution. It is possible to have, we're all competing against each other, which is fun, but we're also going to have some sub competitions within our Dickinson competition. For example, we have a student committee that's forming to identify the exact prizes, but we do know we are going to give a prize to the top faculty, staff, and student member, just to broaden this beyond just students. So what the exact incentives will be driven by the subcommittee that's working on this, but you want to kind of roll that out as you're inviting people to join the team. That seems to work best. You would then advertise and identify group leaders at your institution. I'll let Allison tell you a bit, next slide, what she's doing with we're calling them ambassadors. Because what we found when we did this in 2018 is it takes very little effort. I have 35 eco reps at my institution. If I challenge each of them to get 3 people to join, that's 100 people just through that network, right? And when you work strategically to get ambassadors across the college that are faculty, staff, and students that kind of endorse this and appreciate it, then they can announce it, and it's sort of a trickle-down effect to get more people in. So what happens once you're a team captain, you create your team, you share your link, and let's say said student signs up, they will immediately be prompted to make commitments. So back to these categories here, you would select a category that you want to make commitments in and personalize your challenge. And what I really like about this is my challenge can look very different from Allison's, right? Because we each have the ability to focus on what behaviors do I want to work on for those 3 weeks. Ideally down the road, you could create just an energy challenge within the EcoChallenge, or a waste challenge just within the EcoChallenge for your institution. We are allowing individuals to make commitments in any of these categories for our EcoChallenge this spring, but that option is there for you. So an individual would make these commitments, and then the way it works is they can't check in until the challenge starts, which would be April 1st. So we are going to work on getting people signed up and making their commitments through the whole month of March. Then April 1st, we start getting super motivated. All right, it's time to change, start your behaviors. And the way that it works is they check in every time they complete said behavior. You get points for making commitments, you get points for recruiting others, you get points for checking in. And then there's some cool chat features in there where you can comment on other people's behaviors, or there's actually some discussion questions in there where you can post comments on discussion questions for points too, which is really nice. These are the categories. I think I said that. So let's say I went in, I clicked, this is what you'll see when you sign up and you go into the waste category, you would see something like this. These are 8 of the maybe 24 or 30 commitments within the waste category, okay? And you'll see here, can I see my pointer? Okay, yeah, you'll see here the difference between one-time challenges and daily challenges. And what that means is a daily challenge could actually be done every day, where a one-time challenge, it's one and done within the 3 weeks. You'll also see these green bars indicate sort of the equivalent of easy, medium, and hard. I think they have cool names for them, like Eco Learner, Eco Master, or something, like the hard ones come with more points, okay? So this launching a recycling program would be a difficult one-time challenge, for example. And then the cool thing is you can check off, I already do this. If you think you've already mastered a challenge, it doesn't really make sense to challenge yourself to do that for 3 weeks, right? So this also helps with personal assessment of what are you already doing well and where do you want to challenge yourself to do better. And it does limit you somewhere. You can't make 100 commitments. I don't know exactly what the point threshold is, but it does, at some point it'll say you've made enough, but it's a lot. It's a lot. So an individual could pick a lot of things to do, but they can't pick everything to do. Here's some point scales, right? One of the larger point values is recruiting participants. So every member that joins will have a custom URL generated for them that they can use to invite others. You can also email others within the challenge. So if people are getting friends to join, they are getting sort of the referral points for that, which is nice. And this is an example of, which I really like. We were just screenshotting this for daily, weekly social media updates. But this, again, you will be able to have at the individual level, at the team level, like the Dickinson team level or your team level, and as our whole competition. So it is somehow factoring in, there's conversion factors behind this to calculate CO2 saved from the behaviors that are checked in.
Yeah, so we wanted to put together some things that we're doing at Dickinson to sort of recruitment, implementation, and follow through, just so you guys aren't left sort of in the dust with how to plan this on your campus. So we always start with having good incentives. Typically, it could be a hammock, it could be farmers market gift certificates, it could be an electric scooter, all things that are super popular. And so we also create those incentives across students, faculty, and staff. And so it engages all levels of the college. So then we are also recruiting ambassadors and endorsements. If only Lindsay and I used our social circles, we'd have a pretty small number of people. So what we're doing here is we're recruiting ambassadors, and those ambassadors essentially serve as a liaison between EcoChallenge and their organizations that they're a part of. And so we're framing it to them as a really good leadership opportunity to get involved in their organizations if they don't have one. And also they're provided with the incentive of selecting what the incentive is going to be for the winner. So we're hoping to get 20 to 30 of them on board. And then we're also leveraging endorsements from like different people on campus, such as the college president, to show that she's on board and hopefully get other people on board. So we've invited you guys. So that's kind of the idea of invite a rival, but also you can frame it in a way where people should be challenging their friends and competing against their friends. And also following this call, in that link, there is a media kit. So in there we have email, like we'll have more draft emails, we'll have posters, we'll have, there's posters, there's postcards, also that you guys don't have to create those things, and they all look super uniform. So then we also are planning on doing a kickoff event. So at that event, I think we're picturing sort of an open house event where people can come by, learn about EcoChallenge, register for EcoChallenge, and just get involved. And then our finale event, we're going to align it with our carbon neutrality announcement, but we typically do a bonfire. It sort of encourages people to turn the lights out, get off their electronics, and be outside. And it's sort of a fun event for everyone who competed in EcoChallenge to gather. So then the follow through is that we'll have the real-time impacts via social media, and you're able to sort of track engagement on your college campus, and other things like that.
I would, the list of partners isn't done. If you want to invite a rival of your institution to join you in the Campus 2020 Challenge, totally open to that. They, just if there's a school that you think would help your school get behind it more, feel free to invite them or forward my invitation. The other thing I shared in the resource folder is the email that we will be sending to Dickinsonians to sort of announce this and have them sign up when the time comes. So you're also welcome to steal that text and customize it, trying to make your life easier. The kickoff, ideally, I think it'd be really cool to at least have representative stations of each of the 9 categories, right? So have someone there that's focused on food and what are the commitments within the food category, and a separate one on waste, and just sort of introducing people to this sort of holistic view that all these elements can go into it. So it looks like we received some chat things. I'll have Allison share that, but that's sort of the general overview. This PowerPoint is saved. If you also wanted, it's saved in the resource folder. If you also wanted to customize it, to present to your intern team or whatever it may be, this webinar is also going to be recorded, and I will share the link with you if you want to forward it and make other people at your institution watch it, so you don't have to relay all this information. But the take-home message would be to go to that, make sure you're using Campus 2020 EcoChallenge, and you should see, it should really just be us and Messiah and Chatham and those few small teams in there, and create a team for yourself. But right now I am open to questions.
Yeah, so one of the questions we got in the chat was, can people start the challenge before April 1st? Right now our plan is to start the challenge, or the plan is to start the challenge on April 1st. But people can register and target their commitments before then.
Correct. So you can sign up, recruit, and make commitments starting now. As soon as your team is established, that is open, but you can't check in and say, I did this behavior until April 1, it won't let you. So that's a great question. Anyone else have questions?
Lindsay, you said that it won't let me record my behavior, but I went in and did it while we were talking, and I saw our points jump.
You said I did said behavior?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, well, you want to know something? I was wondering, I think your challenge has already started. I don't think you set your dates, Brandon. We need to check that for April 1 through 21. I don't know what dates you picked, but I noticed it looked like it let you do your challenge on another date. So I think.
I mean, I'm in first right now, so I'd rather you not
Right. So
change
what I
that,
need
but-
you to do is change the dates of your challenge to April 21 and then tell
Okay.
me if that still works. I think that's
Okay.
what happened there.
I'll
And
have
I
to figure
guess
out.
each of you, good point. Each of you, when you are joining this challenge, it's going to allow you to customize your dates. But if you want to be with the rest of us, set the dates for April 1 through 21.
Do you know how to go back and do that?
No, I will help you after the call. Or like, I'm wondering now too, that once you started, we may need to like delete that team and have you restart it.
Okay, I'll play around. I'll see what I can do.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions from the group?
I have a question about campus size. So I'm just thinking about like Colgate University, for instance, we have just under 3,000 students. Is there a way to do the competition based off of like percentage of student body or percentage of employees, something like that? Or is it just kind of tallying, you know, per person registered?
Yeah, I brought that up to them, and it is currently just, you know, it's per person. So there is no, you know, and right, Penn State was like, oh, I'm kind of interested. I'm like, well, they have 40,000 people, so obviously they can crush our 2,000. But the odds are, you know, it's gonna naturally kind of play itself out percentage based regardless, right? I think, you know, I think we have the potential here at Dickinson to get 50% of our population behind this. Like, that's not out of scale. I don't know that Penn State could get 50% of their population out of it. So you're right. It's not 100% apples to apples, and you probably will need to translate that to your population a little bit. But I say we just kind of try it and see if it's a blowout because the school is big. You know, we can kind of think about that for the future, but yeah, there's not really a way to address that.
Thanks.
Yep.
What were some barriers you came across the first time you did this EcoChallenge?
Okay. What were some barriers that we came across the first time we did this challenge? I guess the one thing that I want to work on better this time is we had a lot of engagement right up front. Right? But 3 weeks is a long time to sustain things at a college, as you know. That's like an eternity. So one of the challenges was, how do you keep people continuing to practice the behaviors and be enthusiastic in these longer, intense campaigns, which I'm sure many of you have faced in other challenges. So the team captain has the ability to email all members of the team, and what we do, you know, I think by having that finale event, we sort of start promoting that, you know, during the challenge, which gives people something to kind of reinvigorate them and look forward to and go to at the end. I feel like if there's not a finale, people may sort of die off, right? They get really into it at the beginning and then just life gets in the way. So I think just maintaining, that was one of our major challenges. And last year, when we did it in 2018, we put very little time and effort into recruiting. I basically did it within my EcoReps program, which was totally fine, but it was a more limited population. But it also, you know, we didn't put in all college effort behind it, which we're going to try and do this year more. So. Any other questions?
Can we choose only one challenge, like waste? We would have a recycling behavior issue here that I would like to specifically change.
Yeah.
Is there a specific section for recycling effort?
Right. So yes, recycling the question is kind of back to those custom challenges and how can you customize this for yourself? So there's 8 categories or 9 categories within the EcoChallenge, and unfortunately, without paying EcoChallenge, your participants are going to see all of those, okay? If you wanted, Beatrice is asking this, if you wanted to run a waste challenge for your institution only, you have two options. One is you would need to do the legwork to communicate that this is a waste challenge and that they should go in there and only sign up for waste commitments. That's option 1. Option 2 would be You have to pay EcoChallenge to turn off those other 8 and make a custom competition for you. So those are sort of the two things. We kind of went down that road too, that I wanted an energy challenge. I wanted to transition our energy challenge into this. But if I want to turn off all the things that aren't energy, that is custom coding that is needed. And you do kind of have to pay for that. So those are your options. You could drive your participants all to one category area if you wanted, but that work would be sort of on you to communicate that so that they know that's all they can commit to.
Ashley, can new team members be added after April 1st? Or do you have to have all the recruitment done and has to be a April 1st check-in? And
Nope. You can continue to join the challenge until the end of the challenge, which is
Okay.
a great point because it does sort of get contagious. Now, obviously, someone that starts 10 days in is 10 days behind on the daily commitments, right? So it may be harder for them to catch up, but don't tell them that, right? Just assume they're in and starting late. What was the other thing I was going to say? Oh, you can also, on a daily challenge, which I like because some days you forget, you can go in and say, I did this yesterday. You just get less points than if you go in and say, I did this today. So you're allowed to reflect back and be late about things. It's just not as valued. Good questions. What else?
Lindsay, I love this EcoChallenge. I think it'll be really fun to test it out because students, I don't have to convince them to care. It's giving them tools of how to go about doing it, right? And so I think this is really good. I'm fascinated that students are actually going to go in and check off boxes on a computer screen. I'm wondering if there's a mobile app or if there's a way to make it where it's just easy to do on their phone. They can do it through a URL, but if there's a mobile app, that would be, I imagine, more simple for students.
And that was the first thing I challenged the EcoChallenge folks with, working with college students. I know they need that. Abigail brought that up to me in a pre-conference call as well. No, they don't have an app. Part of their strategic focus is where they're going next. That's why they left some of the Northwest Earth Institute things and are focusing on this. So I do think there will be an app for this in a year or two to come. It's not here now. What we did was something I didn't realize you could do on your phones. And when we do these workshops with students to sign up in groups, right? Like I'm going to send Allison to the student RA meeting and she'll have 80 RAs in a room and we'll get them all signed up at once. So the trick that you can teach is on an iPhone, you go to your browser, you use the URL, and when you have the EcoChallenge opened, there is an option that is called Save to Home Screen. And I can put those directions in the resource folder. But once you are logged into the EcoChallenge, if you save to home screen, you can quickly, it looks like an app, but it's not an app, but it does conveniently put it on your phone for the 3 weeks of the challenge. Abigail, did you have something to add?
Yeah, so we actually, on the iPhone, it allows you to like record yourself doing like scrolling through your phone, and we recorded one of our members like logging into the account, adding the like URL to the home screen. So let me see if I can share my screen here, and then I can play the video for you guys just to like as an example. Okay.
And then you, Abby, definitely email me that and I can throw it in the resource folder because it is like, Brandon, the app workaround. It puts it on the phone without paying tons of money to get an app created.
Okay, so can you guys see this?
Yes, looks great.
Okay, so starting from the beginning, there we go. So we used a QR code for them to open it up, to bring it to the website. So then now they just have it right on the regular screen.
That's awesome. And once they're logged in once, they shouldn't need to do it again, which on your daily commitments, it should be pretty quick.
That's helpful, thanks.
Yeah. Other questions? I was just gonna pull up the site here and see if any teams have registered as we're kind of going through this. Looks like Westchester has 3 members and the Messiah Falcons are in here, but the rest of you, I encourage, if you are seriously considering this, at least start your team so you can get in there and play around to see what the team captain looks like. And feel free to reach out to Allison and I if you have any follow-up questions and as how we can be helpful.
I have one question real quick. So like right now, I could probably start as the team leader, but we're still working to see if we can get a student group interested in this to kind of take charge. If I did start it and I put myself as the team leader, would I be able to switch those responsibilities to someone else? Say we got a student group that wanted to kind of like lead it instead.
Not to a group, but probably to an individual. When I did this before, my intern and I were co-team captains.
Okay.
So you could be a captain and not do anything, and that's okay. No one would know that but you and this person. But you can, you can have more than one captain. I don't know if you can have more than 2. I'm not sure about that.
Okay, because like that's what we're trying to work out and we're going to talk about later today is to figure out if I start it and then hopefully we can get like a student like president of one of our clubs that would want to kind of like hone in on it and take like run with it. So
another option is you could actually create the team account under something like we have sustainability at dickinson.edu, which is a generic. You could create it under that and something that you would be maybe willing to share with multiple people. Really, the team captain, once the team is established, they're responsible for sort of motivating people. And that can happen from within EcoChallenge, or it can happen in your own social media networks or email or however you motivate people. So you could have a lot of people working on this without technically being the EcoChallenge team captain. And I don't think that would be a problem.
okay, sounds good. Thanks.
Yep. Any other questions? All right, well, we are, anything on there? Okay. Okay, well, we have shared the folder with you. We will continue to add to that. If we develop anything new and exciting that we think would make it useful for you, use that folder. And I'm happy to, if we run into any technical road bumps, Brandon or whatever, if we need to reset that. I'm in good touch with the people that manage the whole challenge, so we can have them do anything if you work those issues through me. But really look forward to having you on board. And I hope to continue to add teams. Just because they missed the call today doesn't mean that they can't do it. So if there's others you would like to invite, feel free to motivate them and use us as a central contact. And otherwise, I don't think we don't need to meet or anything again. It's just kind of like, see you April 1st and wish you the best. So we're here if you need anything. Do you have anything else to add?
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lindsay.
Yep.
Thank you.